Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. Happy New Year. This is our first edition of 2025. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNEWS reporters Sydney Bowles, Veris Conley, Tad Stefanek, Robert Paris, Giuliana Magrane with sports, and Gretchen Carey with the community calendar. Thank you for joining us. We begin this broadcast with some sad news. Lee Callahan, retired Burlington fire chief, peacefully passed away at home, surrounded by his loving family on the morning of January 6th. He was 71 years old. Lee was one of 5 sons to Daniel and Jean Crawford Callahan. He grew up in Burlington and graduated from Burlington High School in 1971. Lee later earned his associate's degree in fire science from Middlesex Community College and his bachelor's degree in fire and emergency management from Riviera University. Lee began his career with the Burlington Department in 1978. Over the next 30 years, through his dedication and hard work, he rose through the ranks. He was a mentor and a role model to all the firefighters, respected for his unwavering faith, dignity, and the kindness he showed to everyone around him, his obituary reads. Lee led by example, always setting high standards for fire safety and the behavior expected within the firehouse. While he cherished his role as a firefighter, he also committed himself to learning how to be a strong, compassionate leader. He valued honesty, was always willing to listen, and made sure to support his team by fighting for the best training and equipment and always having their backs. Lee believed in the importance of learning from mistakes, making space for growth, and adapting to the ever-changing landscape of the fire service. Beyond his work in the fire department, Lee represented the Burlington community in many ways. He hosted the BCAT show, Fireworks, and served as the regional director of the Fellowship of Christian Firefighters International. In 1993, he was honored with the recognition of service above and beyond the call of duty from the town of Burlington for his heroic efforts. Reflecting on his career in a retirement interview, Lee humbly said, "I have been blessed to rise to a leadership position and work with some incredible people, both at the department and in the other town departments. It was this humility and thoughtful nature that made him such a beloved chief." You can find Lee's full obituary and information on services at the Sullivan Funeral Home website. Lahey Hospital and Medical Center announced a major milestone in its commitment to the advancement of cancer care north of Boston with the opening of a newly relocated and expanded state-of-the-art radiation oncology suite last December. Located in the Sophia Gordon Center on the east side of the main hospital, the approximately 28,000 square foot suite is equipped with the latest in cutting-edge treatment technology to deliver the highest level of enhanced care to upwards of 9,000 patients annually close to home. As cancer cases are expected to increase significantly in the coming years, the new facility furthers Lahey's high level of care through improved access, elevated patient experience, additional capacity, and increased privacy. The expansion is rooted in Lahey Hospital and Medical Center's long legacy of excellence in cancer care, said Susan Moffat, MD, president of Lahey. Our new radiation oncology suite will ensure our patients and their families have expanded and convenient access to the most innovative technology in cancer services and radiation therapy delivered in a compassionate environment. While April may seem far away, preparations for the annual town election have already begun. Those seeking to run for office have from now until Wednesday, February 12th to obtain nomination papers, which can be picked up at the town clerk's office. Those seeking a townwide office must collect a minimum of 50 signatures from registered voters. Those seeking a position in town meeting must collect a minimum of 10 signatures from voters in their precinct. Friday, February 14th will be the last day to file nomination papers with the Board of Registrars. There are many townwide seats up for election, including town moderator, 2 open seats on the Select Board, School Committee, Planning Board, Board of Health, and 2 on the Recreation Commission, Library Trustees, and 2 on the Constable, This year's ballot is still taking shape, but some candidates have already pulled papers. Select Board members Mike Espeo and Nick Priest recently announced via Facebook they are each seeking re-election. The annual town election will take place on Saturday, April 5th, with polls open at Burlington High School from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. As always, stay tuned to BNews for more election updates in the coming months. Burlington Cub Scout Pack 105 is actively searching for the trailer they used for their 4th of July parade float, which was discovered missing as early as last week. In a post to the Burlington Residents Network Facebook group, Pack 105 treasurer and Webelo's Den leader Tony Borissow put out the call for the missing trailer. Borissow spoke to BNews and said the trailer was first donated to the Scouts in the spring of 2019, after which they repurposed it for their 4th of July parade float and have used it annually since. The Presbyterian Church of Burlington on Cambridge Street had allowed the Scouts to store the trailer in their parking lot since 2021 and is the trailer's last known whereabouts. The church informed us they did not move it and it has been reported missing to the BPD, said Borissow. Our hope is that with all of the work done in the area recently, it may have simply been misplaced. Residents with any information should reach out to Borissow via email at anthony.borissow, BORISOW, @gmail.com, or contact the Burlington Police Department on their non-emergency line at 781-272-1212. The trailer was reported missing to Officer Brian Goggin. Any help would be appreciated. The Burlington Historical Commission met to decide whether or not to impose a 6-month delay on the demolition of the Burlington Police Station, or more commonly known as the Old Union School. BNews reporter Tad Stefanak spoke to members of the commission, and they had this to say.
Try to figure out if that's what the right path is for.
The Burlington Historical Commission recently held a special meeting regarding the historical significance of the Burlington Police Station, formerly known as the Union School, which is set to be demolished to build a new police station.
Anytime there is a demolition request to the building inspector's office, the Historical Commission receives a notification to review the demolition request and make a determination whether or not there is anything of historical significance which may either delay or cancel the demolition.
Plan will move forward with stipulations that certain parts of it can be saved to be used in other projects.
The board, in discussion over the last few months, would have preferred to have saved the Union School, but town meeting voted to build a new police station on that property, so we knew that there was no way the Historical Commission would save the building proper.
It wasn't just something that we crossed off, said let them tear it down. It hurts. And it has a lot of history.
The population of the town is one of the biggest factors, and society has changed its priorities, and the current station does not meet the demands of being a police department station.
We'll still be able to save some of the architectural pieces, won't be able to save the building.
I'm hoping that maybe some of the objects that we can save from it will let us all remember the history.
So that's good.
From Burlington Town Hall, I'm BNews reporter Tad Stefanak.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The Union School was a 128-year-old wood frame structure. Ye Olde Meeting House 1732 is the oldest surviving history book on Burlington, focusing on the building currently known as the United Church of Christ. Robert Fahey, creator of BurlingtonRetro.com, gives us a look back in time in the latest installment of Burlington Retro Remixed.
Dear friends, natives of Burlington, children of the Church of Christ, as we gather on Forest Field Hill this morning, within these walls, hallowed by memories of the past, our thoughts instinctively go back to childhood. And it seems to us many years ago that this was an old meeting house then, and our first lesson in history was that the meeting house was built in 1732. 1897, the seawall house on just off Lexington Street burned to the ground. That was 1897. In 1902, Town Hall burned down, and that was located where the Little League field is now. So we've lost a lot of early history of the town, including the origin of the name Burlington. This is the oldest material that has survived. It's really just a compilation of essays and historic speeches at the time. And when I say at the time, this was published in 1909, but it talks about the very origin of the town. Before we became a country, a meeting house was an all-in-one structure. It was your town hall, it was your church, it was your school, it was your cultural convention center. It was kind of everything under one roof, so it was a really big deal. And when the Shawsheen section of Woburn broke off and made their own meeting house and became the second precinct of Woburn, the second parish of Woburn, that was a big deal, a very provocative move. Woburn was afraid they would lose us, and of course they did. In 1799, we became Burlington. Martha Sewell Curtis, she was an entrepreneur. She was a suffragist. She had her own court stenographer business, and she was a court stenographer herself. She compiled this, and it has survived when nothing else really has survived from those early days. I digitized it. I photographed every page of it and put it on the internet. So there's the eggs are in two baskets. So if something happens to this book and the copies of it, we have it in digital form. Also, young people will be more likely to access it online than going to the library and pulling up a book.
The book can also be found in the historical section of the Burlington Library. As we all know, winters in New England can be a bit of a question mark. Some years we get walloped with feet of snow, and other years we barely get a few dustings, but even a little bit of snow, sleet, or black ice can spell trouble. Burlington's DPW Director Brian White had some practical tips for home and the road. This is our first snow rodeo, but nevertheless, these are some tips for you. Cleaning your gutters reduces the risk of ice dams, which prevents water from draining properly and potentially causing water damage to the home. Make sure your water heater and non-insulated pipes are in heated rooms to prevent freezing and breaking. Homeowners are responsible for water meters that break or freeze. Keep the edge of the pavement clear for plows and to prevent damage. Be aware that DPW plows set a list of sidewalks through the winter, but they're the last thing the department gets to after roads have been cleared. Finally, stay off the roads as long as possible during storms to allow for quicker and better cleanup. And for seniors, BCAT reached out to Council on Aging Director Marge Yetman. Here were her recommendations. Don't go out in the snow unless you have to. If you're shoveling, take frequent breaks, pace your work, and use a smaller shovel so you aren't lifting too much weight. A very common cause of heart attacks for elderly people is shoveling snow. Plan ahead and have everything on hand you might need for a storm that might last a couple of days, including bread and milk, which everybody will rush to get. Also including prescriptions of food. You don't need to, prescriptions and food you don't need to heat or keep cold. After 17 years, Burlington resident Doug Hastings has accomplished this incredible feat and goal of donating blood in an impressive 100 times in 100 different cities, totaling over 15 gallons of blood. BNEWS reporter Robert Parris spoke to Hastings on this impressive and selfless feat.
Burlington resident Doug Hastings has completed an impressive and selfless goal of donating blood for the 100th time in December, totaling over 15 gallons of blood. He first gave it back in 2007 while away on vacation.
It's kind of a funny story. The first time I ever donated blood ever in my whole entire life was in Waterville, Maine, which is central Maine, middle of nowhere. I just drove by a blood donation center. I was on vacation. I didn't have anything pressing the next day, so I said I might as well try it and see what blood donating is all about. I ended up spending about 3 or 4 hours at that blood donation center, and everyone was just so nice to me that at the end of the whole thing, it wasn't a bad experience. After all, it was a good experience, and I was hooked.
To make his goal more interesting, he wanted to donate in a different city each time.
My first donation was in Woburn. That's where my dad grew up. I didn't do it in Woburn because that's where he grew up. It just sort of happened. with the donation restrictions and stuff, it's a 17-year thing from beginning to end. So there were times where I wasn't even sure that I would make it. You have to stay healthy. You have to keep, blood pressure and all this stuff under control.
It was also very personal for Doug, as his mom Joan would attend a number of his donations. Joan passed away last January.
My mom would come to a lot of the donations with me, and then I just thought it would be a fun way to finish the journey. Since I started it in my dad's hometown, I'll finish it in my mom's hometown. So that was the plan anyway.
Now that he's achieved his goal, he plans on doing another 100 throughout the Commonwealth.
I just turned 54, so another 17 years I'd be 71 if I got to 200. I don't know if I could do all 351. I think I'll be a little too old for that. But I think I'd like to try and do another 100.
Doug has encouraged people to donate their blood. And not only are you helping others, but you are saving lives in the process.
It's a very easy thing to do. It's about an hour and a half. And the Red Cross does a thing now also where they send you an email and tell you exactly where your blood went. Sometimes you might think blood runs out of, it has a shelf life and maybe it just gets thrown away. But to get an email confirming that your blood is actually helping somebody, it's a game changer. It's unbelievable.
From the BCAT studio, I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Weekly.
Congratulations, Doug. Quite a feat. The Collector Expo is an event for pop culture fans to buy and sell memorabilia from their favorite shows, movies, and comics. They held their inaugural event last month in the BHS cafeteria. BNews reporter Veris Conley spoke to the event organizers. Let's have a look.
In the cafeterias of Burlington High School lies a vast assortment of cards, canvases, and collectibles ready to be given a new home. The Collector Expo is an event for pop culture fans to buy and sell memorabilia from their favorite shows, movies, and comics. The organizers of the convention, Sam Gillis and Tucker Crowley, shared their story on why they started this expo in the first place.
I thought right now was going to be a good time around the holidays to do a show like this, last-minute holiday shopping. I've always been into event organizing, and I'm kind of familiar with the space, so I figured it would be a good practice run. When I was a little kid, I collected Pokemon cards and stuff like that, and I've always been interested in sports memorabilia, playing sports growing up, but I'm definitely more into it on the event management side of things, going out, marketing the event, bringing in attendees, bringing in vendors, stuff like that. When we first started, we were thinking maybe we were just going to do the gym downstairs, 40 tables. Now we're upstairs using the lobby, both cafeterias, 80, 90 tables, 60 vendors or so. So great turnout. It's just been nice.
It kind of started with, we had an idea for the show and we knew we wanted to do it. We've been to a bunch of other shows and we kind of just wanted to create a different environment for people and vendors and have just a good time for everyone, attendees and vendors. We started collecting a couple of years ago and just thought I'd just continue the passion. Trying to get as many people as possible into the event, hoping that people have a good time and people sell some cards.
However, an expo isn't an expo without its vendors. And for this event, vendors from all types of communities were here to express their passions with the attendees.
I'm having a phenomenal day here. It's actually the first ever right here at the Collectors Expo, which is amazing. First of all, I've never been to this part of the area, so being here is an amazing experience for us. We've been doing this for quite some time now, and we always like to challenge and new experiences. And this right here is our first time here, so I'm loving it so far. If you're not here, you're completely missing out. This is the type of event that you want to come in, especially right before Christmas. If you're looking for those deals, those specials, those wonderful gifts, even those stockings fillers, this is the spot you want to be here because you're going to get deals here galore.
I'm an artist. I just kind of make prints and I draw stuff, and I'm doing on-site commissions for this, so it's pretty fun. It's a good opportunity to draw for more people. I've done a few events before this, and it's pretty fun to just have people ask me to draw stuff and be able to draw stuff for them, and they can also buy prints and stuff. I'm definitely a big collectibles person. I have a big figure collection at home. It's definitely a cool opportunity because the past few events I've done have been just school events, so it's a bigger audience to show people, and I just like sharing my art with people.
Be sure to catch the next Collector Expo on Saturday, February 1st.
Our next show is at the Great American Beer Hall in Medford, Mass, February 1st, so we'll be figuring that out the Saturday before the Super Bowl.
For more information, check out their website, www.thecollectorexpo.com. This is Veris Connolly from BNews.
Up next is BNews sports reporter Giuliana Magrane, who will catch us up on all the Red Devil action from the last few weeks, right after a look at our community calendar with Gretchen Carey.
Hey everyone, I'm Gretchen Carey, and this is your community calendar. On January 15th from 5 to 7 p.m., the town of Burlington will be having a second annual Civic Expo at the BHS cafeteria. For more information, go to the town website. On Sundays in January from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., the Burlington Public Library will be showing movies by Alfred Hitchcock. No registration is required, and the events are free. For a list of the titles, go to the library website. On January 16th at 7 p.m., the Made in Burlington store will be having a Kickstart Vision Board class. Bring a journal for ideas and bottled water for yourself. Vision board supplies will be provided. For more information and to register, go to the following website. For more community calendar events, go to bcattv.org, burlingtonpubliclibrary.org, and burlingtonrecreation.org. I'm Gretchen Carey, and that was your community calendar.
Hi, I'm Amy Poehler, and you're watching BCAT. Go Red Devils.
Happy New Year, everyone. I'm Giuliana Magrane, and this is your weekly sports report. The basketball teams competed in a doubleheader at home against Middlesex rivals Melrose last Friday. Let's go to the highlights.
It was a packed house at the Vanilla Gym for a Friday night doubleheader against Melrose for Devils basketball. The boys started out first with a 13-9 lead heading into the second. It was a different story before the break as Melrose took the lead by 20-19. Burlington woke up after the break and scored 18 points to their opponent. Melrose had 10, 37-30. The Devils secured the victory by finishing it off with 17, Melrose with 16. 54-46 was the final. As for the girls, it was a slow start for the team with an 11-10 Melrose lead. Both of them kept it close with a 21-20 halftime score. Coming back after half, the girls put up 13 points while Melrose added 7, 34-27. Burlington came away with the victory in the end, 43-34.
Both teams played against Arlington on January 7th. The boys were on the road and lost by just 1 point in a heartbreaker of 53-54. The girls were at home. We caught all of the action.
It might have been brisk out, but there was some basketball to keep us warm when Arlington paid a visit for a match with the Lady Devils. Throughout the game, Arlington had an advantage over Burlington in the first 2 quarters. It was close, 15-9 and then 22-16 respectively. Burlington couldn't seem to find momentum that evening as their opponent were up by 10 going into the fourth, 35-25. In the final quarter, the Devils gave it their all by adding another 16 points in the net, coming close. But in the end, Arlington seemed to sneak away with the victory, 45-41.
Both teams are 5-2, with road games in Wakefield on Friday. Girls hockey had 2 consecutive victories on the road. They had a huge win against Stoneham, 8-2, and beat Leominster, 3-2. The wins improved their record to 4-2. Boys hockey had a different outcome against the Spartans with a 2-1 loss. Nolan Jennings scored the lone goal for the Devils. They did come out victorious against Newburyport, however, with a 4-2 win and a tied in Wednesday night's game against Watertown, 2-2. The team is now 3-3-1. Devils wrestling competed twice over this past week. First up was a tri-meet against Bedford, Axton, Boxborough, Hanover, and Winchester on January 4th. In the matches, they went 0-3. However, a number of wrestlers won individual matches. You can check out the full list at bcattv.org/sports. On Wednesday, they were at home against Melrose and lost 58-16. We spoke with head coach Paul Schwartzman about the match.
For the most part, guys wrestled tough. A couple disappointing results in there, but Melrose, they're defending sectional champs. We knew they'd be tough. We started 8 freshmen, so we got a young lineup, and we're just making freshman mistakes and taking our lumps this year. They keep getting better. They keep working harder. I can't complain about the effort, which is the main thing. And a couple of them have wrestled a long time, and the results have shown with those. They both got wins tonight, but the other ones, they're working hard. They just haven't wrestled that long. They don't have the experience. They don't have the maturity yet, but they're definitely getting there.
The record is 3-12. On a highlight note about the team, over the holiday break, freshman Max Schwartzman finished in the top 8 finalists for the George Bossy tournament. Max is the second BHS freshman to place at the tournament alongside Josh Lee, taking 7th in 2014. Congratulations, Max. Both the indoor track teams competed with Wakefield on January 7th. The girls came out of the meet victorious, 59-41. Ava Eldridge has qualified for state championships in her performance in the 1,000-meter run at 3 minutes and 21 seconds. Boys lost their meet 46-54 at Wakefield. Their records even out at 2-2. You can see the full results at bcattv.org/sports. They will compete in the Massachusetts State Track Coaches Association Northeast Individual Interventional this coming weekend. Girls gymnastics are undefeated as they started their season with 2 very close wins. They beat Woburn 129-126 and Winchester 132-131. They will be in Melrose on January 10th for their 3rd meet. For more Red Devil action, check out our sports section at bcattv.org/sports and follow us at BNEWS on X at BNEWS Sports. That's all for this week. I'm Giuliana Magrane. Back to you guys in the studio.
And now for our first photo of 2025. This photo was sent in by Steve Morin and shows a familiar sight from the holiday season, a filled dishwasher after a successful holiday meal. Thanks for the photo, Steve. We'd like to see your photos. The photos could be of something you see around town, the weather outside your own door, or even photos of your family members and pets. Whatever you think is interesting and would like to share. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. And another reminder before we go that the 2nd annual Burlington Civic Expo, held by the Burlington Buzz in conjunction with the town clerk's office, is scheduled for Wednesday, January 15th from 5 to 7 in the Burlington High School cafeteria. It's your chance to meet and learn more about the town departments and nonprofit organizations that make Burlington the thriving community it is. Also to meet the people who make decisions on a daily basis in the operation of the community. That should be news for this week. We'll leave you with a montage we put together to honor to the life of Chief Callahan. I'm Phil Gallagher, and we'll see you next week.
Probably the most exciting thing about being a Burlington firefighter is at the end of your shift, you know you've made a difference in somebody's life. You've entered into somebody's, in probably, arguably, one of the worst days that they've ever experienced. And hopefully you've made a positive outcome for those people.